Hey, hello, I'm Kråkan, also known as Cornix, and welcome to Yacc, yet another Crowcast where I pick a game, I play it for a week, and then I talk about it. This week's game is the Pedestrian for the PS4. It was released in 2021, and it's a puzzle platformer developed by Socom Arts LLC and also published by them. And also there will be spoilers up ahead, just so you know, but first a little backstory. So this game has been on my radar for quite some time, and just like I do with any other game that's on my radar, I think about it and then I forgot about it, and I picked it up this week because I was curious. So at the start of the game you're presented with a hand-drawn style opening, and you are this scrambled little dot, and you have the choice between a male and female form. So the only difference is that the female form is used during speedruns, because when you pick up an item such as a key, you can there's a little bit different positioning on the back, so you can skip a part of the level involving lasers, and I'll get to that later. So it turns out you're this doodle guy or girl on a whiteboard. So you transgress through different scenes, different mediums, through signs to whiteboards and electronics later on in the game. And there's a brilliant thing where every little screen, it has a little puzzle on it. You need to go from one end of the maze to the other, usually by connecting strings to connect scenes, or just reaching the end of a door. And it's a brilliant way of solving puzzles. So the left stick moves the character around, and A jumps, and triangle is used to get an overview of the puzzles when you try to connect different scenes and panels. And the circle button is used to pick up items and interact with the environment and moving boxes and stuff. And a cool thing about this game is that the puzzle is in the foreground and everything in the background is kind of blurred out, like this bloom effect. So at the beginning of the game you're in this storage area, there are a lot of conveyor belts and noise and boxes, and it's an overall cool idea that you transist through all these mediums and you can see what's going on in the background. So a bit further into the game you're introduced to levers, and they control things in the level such as elevators and stuff. And this game is more or less logical. All the puzzles are logical. So what you need to solve a puzzle is on the same screen, and it's I like the concept. So eventually you will leave the first area, which is the warehouse, and you're introduced to other puzzles such as lasers and trampolines. And there also is a cool reference to a Game Boy. There is like a hardwired Game Boy which is interactable. And you also need to solve a puzzle later where you need to reach a high ledge, and you use boxes by pushing them through scenes and scenes. I probably should have been clearer on this, but in the puzzle segments, you go into this puzzle mode, you press the triangle, and a cursor will appear. So you move things and connect scenes. So you have to connect certain rooms and doors and ladders and stuff in order to move objects and yourself throughout the level. So I was stuck in the subway section for quite longer than I like to admit, but there's this area where you need to go to 3 different areas to get 3 different things to progress. So you need a box and a connector and one other thing, and that leading to the downtown area and later topside. So this game ends on a twist, let's say it that, and I'm not going to spoil it. You have to figure out what it is yourself. So gameplay, go through the different kind of mediums and solve the puzzles and find out what happens in the end. Control, the X button jumps, the triangle brings you into the puzzle mode where you can connect things, and circle picks up objects and start pauses. Graphics. So this game was made in the Unity engine, and the design is very simple. I like the style a lot. It actually reminded me of the old Game & Watch series. So you have this thing, you have the puzzle in the foreground, and you have what's going on like everyday life in the background. It's kind of obscured, kind of blurry, like a bloom effect, and I like that. Sound and music. Logan Hayes made the music and the audio design for this game, and the music is quite enjoyable, but it's kind of weird because if you have this flow, the music kind of bears with you, but if you spend longer time on a puzzle, the music kind of dies down and becomes more quiet. I don't know what that's about, but it's a minor nitpick. Easter egg secrets and glitches. So throughout the game you can find these secret rooms with different hats, and I had no idea. You go through certain like levels and puzzles and you press down and you enter this kind of harder puzzle levels where you end up with or at the end of it you will find a new hat. I also watched a YouTube video with the developers reacting to speedruns. That was kind of funny, and they kind of explained how they thought how the sequence breaking kind of worked, and I can definitely recommend this video. So in conclusion, I wrote, yes, play this if you like puzzle platformers. So I started earlier this week and I got into a flow, and as I say every time when I talk about puzzle games on this podcast, I'm not a puzzle guy at all, but I enjoyed this game a lot. Sure, sometimes I got stuck, but it wasn't that hard to figure out. But once you do figure out puzzles that you kind of scratch your nog a bit, it's like this aha moment when you realize, oh, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. I didn't beat the game this week, but I didn't feel bad about it either. It's a nice, chill little platformer. You don't necessarily sit down and play a lot of chunks of this game, but I played in small bursts. So yeah, I can definitely recommend it if you like puzzle and platformers. So anyway, thanks for listening and or watching, and take care.